There are moments when history holds its breath, when an empire, teetering on the cliff of chaos, decides not to fall, but to rebuild, to rewrite its laws, and to reach for heaven itself with stone and light. This is the story of such a moment. The 6th century. The man, Flavius Petrus Sabatius Justinianus. His dream, a single empire under a single god, ruled by a single perfect law. And at the heart of it all, a building that defied gravity and imagination. This is the story of the Justinianic reforms and the divine wisdom, Hagia Sophia. Justinian inherited not the Rome of Augustus, but a battered Greek-speaking remnant. The laws were a jungle of contradictions, Roman edicts, local customs, imperial decrees piled over centuries. The church was fractured by furious debates about the nature of Christ. And in Constantinople itself, the people were divided into racing factions, the blues and the greens, more like armed gangs than sports fans. Justinian was a paradox, a Latin-speaking peasant from the Balkans who became autocrator, a theological nitpicker who dreamed in universal dimensions. His first monumental task, to tame the legal chaos.
The statutes of our state are a discordant mess, Tribonian. Confusion. I will have it cleansed. I want a single code. Clear, accessible, enduring. The law of Rome, distilled to its essence. Not for scholars, for every judge in every province.
A monumental task, Basileus. It will require setting aside thousands of outdated pronouncements.
Then set them aside. We're not curators of a dusty archive. We're architects of order.
In an astonishing 5 years, Tribonian and his team produced the Corpus Juris Civilis, the Code, the Digest, the Institutes. It wasn't just a cleanup, it was a philosophical statement. Law was rational, systematic, a reflection of divine order on earth. It proclaimed the emperor's absolute power as God's viceroy, but also enshrined principles of justice that would echo for a millennium. Justice is the constant and perpetual will to render to each his due. Then, disaster. The factions united in the Nika Revolt. For days, the city burned. Justinian, ready to flee, was stopped by one voice.
Augustus, we must board the ships. The mob is at the gates.
Those who have worn the crown should never survive its loss. I will not flee. Royal purple is the noblest shroud.
Her defiance steeled him. His generals, Belisarius and Mundus, trapped the rebels in the Hippodrome. 30,000 were slaughtered. The old city center was ash. But from this ashes, Justinian saw not ruin, but a blank canvas. On this ground, Justinian would build his testament. Not just a church, but a metaphysical argument in brick and mortar. He hired not mere architects, but geniuses of abstract mathematics. I will surpass Solomon. His temple held the Ark of the Covenant. Mine will house the very presence of God. I want a dome, not resting on thick walls, but seeming to float on a halo of light. The physics are unprecedented, Basileus. The weight, the thrust, then be unprecedented. Spare no expense. Gold from Egypt, porphyry from Libya, green marble from Thessaly. I will have a universe in microcosm. For 5 years, 10,000 workers toiled. The dome, 180 feet high, was a leap of faith in engineering. When it was done, Justinian entered, strode to the center, and looked up. He is said to have whispered, "Solomon, I have surpassed thee." This was the point. Hagia Sophia, holy wisdom. It was not a building you looked at. It was a reality you were immersed in. The physical laws of the Corpus Juris governed man. But here, in this space, you experienced the higher law of God. The dome was the firmament. The glittering mosaics were the stars. The liturgy below was the earthly mirror of the heavenly court. As the psalmist wrote, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands." Justinian built a heaven indoors. The Corpus Juris Civilis was largely forgotten in the Greek East, but in the West, rediscovered centuries later, it became the bedrock of the continental legal tradition, shaping the modern world's concept of civil law. Hagia Sophia invented the architecture of transcendence. It defined the form of the central domed church and mosque for 1,000 years. Icons of Caesaropapism, the emperor as head of church and state. This model of unified, God-sanctioned authority would shape Russian Tsarism and influence notions of sacred monarchy for centuries. Justinian's project was an attempt to reconcile two forms of truth: the rational truth of law and the transcendent truth of faith. He believed a well-ordered state was a mirror of the kingdom of heaven, and a well-built church was proof of that kingdom's reality. His legacy asks an enduring question: can human society be perfected through systems of law and awe-inspiring symbol? He tried. His code brought order, but his autocracy bred resentment. His great church inspired generations, but his theological meddling alienated provinces. The empire would soon lose the lands he reconquered. Hagia Sophia stands today not as a purely Christian or Islamic space, but as a palimpsest of that very dream. A Christian cathedral for 900 years, a mosque for 500, now a museum, and recently, a mosque again. It is the perfect symbol of Justinian's world, a place where heaven and earth, law and faith, power and piety, and now, different civilizations are in perpetual, tense, and breathtaking dialogue. It is the stone and light embodiment of the biblical phrase from the book of Daniel, often quoted by Byzantine. The God of heaven will set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed. It shall stand forever. Justinian built his version of that kingdom. We are still living in its long, complex, and glittering shadow. This is Hidden Histories. Like, share, and subscribe for more biblical mysteries, ancient truths, and forbidden knowledge, revealed daily.